and welcome back to the Always Better Than Yesterday interview sessions. And I am joined by my very special guest, Austin Hatch. Welcome, Austin.
Thanks very much for having me on, Ryan. I really appreciate it.
It's great to see you. So you and I connected through John Gordon. I had John on episode 77, and I'd seen that you had been a speaker at his Positive Summit, and so I Googled you. And I saw your story, and I was like, I need to stop looking. I need to stop looking because I want to hear it first and foremost from you. I knew that you were going to come on as a guest, and I wanted to hear it from you first and foremost. So I'd just love to hear your side of your story.
Yeah, so I was born to an incredible family in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Had an amazing childhood. You know, I really feel like the kind of childhood that most kids would dream of. You know, playing hard all day in the summertime, going to school in the fall and winter and spring. And I was blessed to have an incredible family. My dad was a doctor, but was also a pilot, like a private pilot. Our family, we had our own small airplane that we used to fly places, like go to the lake house. My grandparents have a lake house in northern Michigan. That's where we would fly often. Tragically, on September 1st, 2003, my family and I were flying back from the lake house, and the airplane tragically crashed and claimed the lives of my mom, who was 37, and my sister, who was 11 at the time, and my brother, who was only 5, which was obviously awful. And I mean, it's hard to fathom, you know, and it was really hard for me to process because I was only 8 years old. My mind wasn't really mature enough to really understand how the significance of that loss. Obviously, it was a big loss for anyone. Anyone would recognize that. But I was young, and you know, not going home to having a mom to go home to and things like that. Not having family dinners every night it was terrible. But my dad was remarried about 2 years later to an incredible woman named Kimberley, who had 3 kids of her own. And I worked really hard on my basketball skills. I was kind of like an outlet for me, getting away from the grief and the emotional trauma, if you will, of losing that. And so I was working really hard on my skills. It got to be pretty good. And Coach Beilein at the University of Michigan offered me a scholarship to play basketball at Michigan on June 15, 2011. I accepted right then and there because that was my dream school to go there and play. And then tragically, 9 days later, on June 24th, my family, we were flying to the lake this time, the same place we were returning from. When the plane crashed in 2003, we were flying to the lake this time, and the aircraft unfortunately tragically crashed again, and my dad and second mom were killed. And I probably should have been killed. You know, a long list of injuries. You know, a traumatic brain injury, about the worst level of traumatic brain injury they've ever seen. That's not died. Punctured lungs, broken, like 5 broken ribs, my pelvis was shattered. I mean, like, there was a long list of stuff. So, but yeah, you know, I was in a coma for about 2.5 months, and came out of it, and then the work to recovery began. So now, you know, it'll be 9 years since that second accident. 9 years ago next Thursday. On the June 24th, the 9-year anniversary. And it's crazy to think that, you know, 9 years ago, like when I was in a coma, they didn't know that I was going to wake up. But, you know, unfortunately I did, and had a lot of work to do to get back to living life. So.
Wow. And what have you gone on to do in the 9 years since?
Yeah, so I committed to Michigan 9 days before the accident, as I mentioned. Coach Beilein was gracious enough to honor my scholarship and keep a spot open for me on the team. So I went to Michigan and had a great 4 years. Was a part of the basketball team. I lost a lot of my ability to play due to my injuries, but he let me be a part of the team, which was awesome. We had an amazing time there, and then I met the love of my life. I met my wife my freshman year of college, and we dated, you know, 3.5 years, and got engaged, got married. Yeah, we're blessed. Now it's life is as good. I can't imagine. Obviously, if my family was here, it would be a lot better. But we're blessed. I can't imagine how things would be any better.
Wow. I have such respect and admiration, and thank you for sharing that. And I opened this up to my Facebook community to pose questions. I shared a little bit about your story and said, look, what questions would you love to ask? And I've been inundated. And I'm not going to sit here and read out every single question that they've asked, but a lot of them stem around this sense of why me. And I guess I'd love to know your perspective on those two events. They are so mathematically crazy in terms of likelihood. And I just wonder, how have you got your head around that?
Yeah, well, mathematically, they are crazy. And in fact, so a statistician at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, pretty smart guy, who actually studies, he actually studies airplane crashes and the odds of, why they happen, how they happen, and the odds of coming out of them, surviving. And he calculated that the odds of surviving one plane crash with multiple fatalities is 1 in 3.4 million. So that's pretty slim, right? I survived 2 of those, though. 2 plane crashes with multiple fatalities in both, tragically, and the odds of surviving those 2. So it's 1 in 3.4 million for one. It's 1 in 3.4 million for another one. So 1 in 3.4 million times 1 in 3.4 million. The odds of surviving both of those is 1 in 11 quadrillion, 560 trillion. That's a 14-digit number on the denominator there. So yeah, the odds are very slim, but I just choose to look at the glasses half full and look at what I'm so blessed to have. Because obviously I've lost a lot, but I don't think I can't let 2 bad events, 2 bad days in my life outshine all the other amazing days, right? It's like if you're playing a basketball game and if you only miss 2 shots in the game, that's a great game, right? If you shoot 18 for 20 from the field, that's a great game. That's like that never happens. Like that's almost unrealistic. So like for me, it's like I look at it like, yeah, you know what? I've had however many days I've been alive, 25 times 365, whatever that is. I've had a lot of great days, but I've had a couple of bad ones too. But I look at it as, you know what? Those bad days are what they are. I'm very saddened, and it's tragic that they happened. But I knew early on, after the second one at least, I knew that if I used them the right way, if I persevered and kept moving forward, I could use that to help other people. And that's what I'm doing now. Traveling around the country, encouraging audiences, encouraging companies and organizations of all kinds to keep moving forward in the face of adversity, opposition, challenge. So,
yeah, huge respect. Does faith feature in your journey?
Absolutely. So, I look at it as, so obviously I've been, I had some challenges, right? Some trials, if you will, but James 1:12 says, blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having withstood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. It doesn't say if you persevere under trial, things might work out for you. You might get lucky. Like your life might be good. It doesn't. No, it says if you persevere under trial, you're going to be blessed. And I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, so yeah, obviously, that's not to ignore the reality of the challenges and the loss that I've unfortunately had to cope with and deal with. But I look at it as how blessed am I to have made this comeback from what happened to him, because it's like, a lot of people who would go through something similar, they probably wouldn't have come out of it the way we have. And I'm not taking credit for it. I'm just saying I'm so blessed to have had what I like to have had, the doctors, nurses. Like I had my whole family, basically all my friends in Fort Wayne, basically people put their life on hold to help me overcome it. And it's like, I mean, what more can I ask for? So.
Wow. John Gordon said in my interview with him that faith didn't make it easier; it just made him stronger. And I just would you say that's been your experience too?
Yeah, I definitely think that, faith, it doesn't make it easier. Like, I mean, it doesn't make, because you have faith, it doesn't mean, God says, you know what, free pass, you're going to have no challenges. Like, I'll make it easy for you. He obviously doesn't say that. I like what John said, though. It does make you stronger. And, you can, if you believe in something bigger than yourself, and you have a faith and a trust that all things will work together for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose, like it says in Romans 8:28. If you believe that all things work together for good, if we maintain our faith and believe that all things work together for good, it's like, man, you know what? I didn't wish this on myself. I'm not necessarily thankful that it happened, but when I overcome it, not if I overcome it, when I overcome it, not only am I gonna be better for it, but there's gonna be good that comes out of this too. So, yeah, I think faith is very important to me, and I think that because you got to believe in something, right? Whatever you believe in, and I'm not here to tell people what they should believe, but we got to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. The words overcome it are the name that you use for your business. And I'd just love to know your connection to those. What does those two words really mean to you?
Overcome it. It's like, so overcome, persevere, thrive in the midst of your trials, overcome it, get better because of it, and we shouldn't allow something that happens to us to determine the course of our future. And it is whatever the obstacle may be for you, overcome it. And I like, cause it's very simple. And like, it's because the mission of our business is to help people overcome whatever obstacle they face, whatever it is. Everyone is facing something different. It doesn't say overcome the loss of your job, or overcome the family trouble, or overcome a divorce, or overcome, an injury, because everyone faces something different. So, I mean, we wanted to keep it applicable to all people, and it's whatever you face. The goal of me traveling to speak to your company or organization, the goal of my message to any audience is to help them maybe gain a different perspective. That kind of, okay, I can look at adversity this way. It's not all negative. I can take positives from it if I keep my head down, keep moving forward, and put in the hard work. So, yeah, overcome it. Whatever obstacle anyone in the audience faces, my goal is that my message will encourage them just to keep working hard to overcome it.
Yeah. I would really love to understand the short time period after the second crash. So let's put this into perspective. You've got some serious life-threatening injuries to recover from. You've got the grief of the loss of your family. You've got the realization that this is the second time this has ever happened to you, and your future is uncertain with college. What a situation to find yourself in anyway, let alone being a young man yourself. Just take me back to there if you're able to. And what was the reality like? What was your everyday like?
Yeah, well, I was in the second accident happened in northern Michigan, and I was transported to the hospital in Munson Medical Center, which is in Traverse City, Michigan, which is northern Michigan. And I was there and they induced a coma. They induced a coma for a couple of days. But my body just stayed in the coma for about 7 more weeks. Just because my body needed it, and I needed to rest and recover. And then I was airlifted when I was still in a coma. I was airlifted to the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago. It's the number one at the time when I was there. I think it has a different name now. I think some other company bought it and changed the name, but at the time that I was there, the Rehabilitation Institute of Chicago, RIC, was the number one pediatric brain injury rehabilitation center in the world. And it's like, I mean, I look at it, it's like, how blessed was I to be able to go to somewhere like that, the number one place in the world, not a good place, number one in the world. And so I went there, came out of my coma, kind of woke up from my coma, if you will, which took a month or so to kind of come out of it and come back to terms with things, maybe 2 months. But yeah, I realized that, that I had a long road ahead of me. And I just started to put in the work. I mean, because I think the biggest thing for a lot of us is sometimes we just have to get started. Like that, getting started is the hardest step towards achieving our goal, towards overcoming whatever obstacle we face. So, yeah, as soon as I learned all that I had lost, and well, obviously I knew all that I had lost, but I knew that I had to. I couldn't focus on that though. I had to shift my focus to, okay, you know what? It's terrible what I lost, but grieving that loss, spending time thinking, why did this happen to me? That's not going to help me get better. That's not going to help me accomplish my goal of recovering so that I can play at Michigan. Coach Beilein came to visit me in the hospital at the RIC in Chicago and said, Austin, whenever you're able to get to Michigan, I can't wait to coach you. I can't wait to have you on our team. I mean, how cool is that? I was pretty good. I was pretty good when he offered me a scholarship, right? I got hurt. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk because my legs were broken, but they'd hit over that time. And the reason I couldn't walk is because my brain couldn't tell my legs to put one foot in front of the other, right? It's crazy. So, and here's one of the best college coaches in the country. Comes to the hospital and tells the guy that he recruited but got injured, I can't wait to coach you. I can't wait to have you on our team. And so it's just powerful.
What did that show of leadership give you?
Yeah, so one of the things I talk about when I talk about overcoming adversity, well, I talk about grit, and I use grit as an acronym. Grit's driven by knowing our purpose first and foremost. We need to be working for something bigger than ourselves. And then the 4 components of grit are the 4 letters. The G stands for the growth mindset, which views adversity as opportunity. We can grow from anything we experience in life. Adversity doesn't define us; it can refine us. The R is the decision to be resilient, to focus on our response to the adversity we face rather than focusing on the adversity itself, and prioritizing our response, like controlling what we control. And then the I is integrity. And of course, integrity is about doing the right thing when no one is looking, but especially in the context of overcoming any obstacle, I think integrity is about following through on our commitments and staying true to what we said we would do, especially when our circumstances change. I tell stories with every letter, and with I talk about Coach Beilein. Right? He followed through on his commitment. He made a commitment to me when things were good, when I was playing well. But then when things changed, he offered me a scholarship. He could have very easily given that scholarship to someone else. But he stayed true to what he said he was going to do and followed through, even though the circumstances changed. And you look at that from a leadership perspective. If you're any of the other guys on my team, any of my other teammates at Michigan, who would not want to run through a brick wall, so to speak, for a guy that is that selfless and that honest and has that much integrity, who stays true to what he said he would do, especially when our circumstances change. And I think about it in business. It's easy to make commitments to people when things are good, right? But then when something else comes up, when our circumstances change, it's easy to say, oh yeah, I made this commitment when things were good, when I didn't have this problem to deal with, but now that I'm dealing with this, I can't do what I told you I was going to do right? So yeah, so I think if we can make it a priority to always follow through on our commitments, especially when our circumstances change, I think that's an opportunity to create a great competitive advantage. So
how did you pay him and the team back? What role did you take up within the team?
I did my best to help the team in any way that I could. I tried my best to always do what the team needed. Whether I was shagging balls in practice, encouraging guys to get better, being positive, cheering them on from the sidelines, and helping with drills in practice, and I just did whatever I could to help the team. And I'd like to think that, because everyone on my team knew the situation, obviously, and I'd like to think that me being positive and optimistic and working hard to do what I could to help the team, because I looked at it as a rising tide can lift all boats, right? if I fill my role to the best of my ability, there's no way that can't have a positive impact on all my teammates. So I just try to take it upon myself to fill my role to the best of my ability.
I love that. Such an inspiration. And I just would love to know your perspective on God's plan for you. Is that becoming clearer? Is that something you have an understanding of?
I'm starting to get an understanding. I don't know that we'll ever fully understand God's plan. None of us ever will. I don't. Maybe we will, but I think so. I'm married now, and my wife. That's part of God's plan for sure. And I think I had an incredible father. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I think my father was the best dad in the world, and obviously, hopefully, every son thinks that. But I think the lesson that I learned from him, part of God's plan is for me to instill those lessons in our children someday, whenever we're blessed with a family. And yeah, I can't wait to because so my dad and I were best friends, right? And I can't wait to be on the other side of that deal and fill the fatherly role. Who knows if I'll be best friends with our sons or our daughters, but I just can't wait to have that relationship. And just teach our kids about life and how to lead by example. Because an example is always better than an opinion, right? If I say, I think this is how you should do it, but like it's better if I could show them, right? That's what my dad did. My dad didn't. I mean, obviously he had to parent me and tell me what was right and wrong, but he showed me by how he lived his life every single day, how he treated people, how he went about his work and business as a doctor, how he right. And so I think that if I can't wait for just the opportunity to hopefully show our kids, the right way to do things. So.
Love that. Do you think about legacy much?
Yeah, I do, because my dad, my whole family, but my dad, he's revered in the whole city of Fort Wayne, where we're from, as one of the greatest men to ever be there, one of the greatest doctors. And I think about like, what do I want people to say about me after I die? Because the two things we all have in common is the day we're born and the day we die, right? And what happens in between those 2 days lies our legacy. The legacy we'll leave, right? And so I think that, my hope is that I continue to have an opportunity to inspire, encourage, motivate people to, overcome. And I hope that, whenever it's my time to go, I hope that I can be remembered as someone who spent his life serving others and using what he had been through to help other people, help them get better, help them overcome, help them thrive in the midst of their adversity.
You talk about being blessed, and I just wonder, do you see, and the mathematics involved as well, do you see yourself as lucky or unlucky to have been involved in two?
Yeah, I think, I don't really believe in luck so much. I mean, because luck is kind of what happens when preparation meets opportunity, right? I mean, maybe maybe winning the lottery is lucky, but for the majority of us, luck doesn't really have. I don't think luck really exists. I think maybe it does. I'll say it's unfortunate, it's tragic what happened to me, but I've been so blessed to have been able to come out of it the way that we have. I say we because it was a team effort. Doctors, nurses, therapists, all my family and friends. The way that everyone was in. I was the only one who was in the plane crash, but I wasn't the only one who was impacted. Everyone was impacted, right? In different ways, obviously. Maybe my impact was more traumatic and tragic than others with the injuries I sustained and stuff. But yeah, I look at it as, it's unfortunate that those days happen. It's terrible that those days happen, those events happen, but how blessed am I to have been able to come out of it the way that I have? Because it's like, I don't think, luck, maybe luck does exist. Maybe there are some things that just happen, but like, I think that all the blessings that I have in my life have got to come from somewhere. They can't just be an accident. I don't think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I felt slightly uncomfortable asking that question, and hearing your response, I now know why, because I too don't believe in luck. And your answer to that question was beautiful. Thank you for that. My ethos is all about helping people be better than they were yesterday. And I'm just curious to know what the phrase "better than yesterday" means to you.
well, that was part of my mantra, part of my mindset in my road to recovery when I couldn't walk. But okay, so I'm coming out of a coma right now. I'm in a hospital bed. I can't walk. I can't go to the other side of the room and grab a tissue to blow my nose because I can't walk over there. And I have to ask someone, hey, can you hand me that tissue so I can blow my nose, because I can't go over there and get it myself, right? Crazy situation. So I was in that situation, but I wanted to get to Michigan. I said, okay, a lot's going to happen between now and then. I have this massive goal of getting to Michigan. I have this goal that's on top of a mountain, metaphorically speaking, right? But I see where I want to go. I see the goal at the top of the mountain. I see the prize at the top of the mountain. But I have to recognize there's also a mountain there. It's not just going to be a straight line to the goal. It's going to be, there's things to climb, metaphorically speaking. Mm-hmm. And I just said, okay, you know what? I want to do something every day that gets me a little bit closer to achieving that goal. Some days were big, like the day I learned to walk again. That was a big day. The day I learned how to play basketball again, that was a big day. Mm. The day I went back to school was a big day. The day, right? But like all the little days too. The day I learned how to do whatever it may be. Or sometimes, sometimes things didn't happen. Maybe it wasn't a day, maybe it was a week. But I think it's so important to set little goals, and because we see that big goal that we want to achieve, that lofty one, which is great. Yeah. But I think it's important to set little goals that we can accomplish along the way too, because if all we see is that big goal, and say the big goal takes a year to achieve. It's January 1st, you want to achieve something by December 31st, for the sake of the argument. If we're not accomplishing anything on the way there, if we're not enjoying the process of getting to that big goal, we're going to get burned out. So I think part of being better than we were yesterday is recognizing that, yes, we do need to, work towards these lofty goals. But, as John says, set a goal of doing something. Like for me, I set the goal of doing something today that I couldn't do yesterday. Mm. And if we can just do that, that'll keep that'll keep the competitive fire in us, I think, because it's like, for me, yes, obviously the stuff that happened, the injuries and everything, obviously I had so many people help me getting better. But I think part of the reason I had this internal drive to compete against myself. And I think part of being better today than we were yesterday, it starts with ourselves, because we can't always compare. We're not always competing against other people. Like for me, in my road to recovery, there wasn't anyone who was going through the same thing. So I couldn't compare myself. Okay, am I doing better than him or her today? Or right? But if I could say, okay, you know what? I'm not competing against, like in golf, for example, unless you're playing in a tournament, it's you against the golf course, right? It doesn't really matter what the other people do. And it's like in my road to recovery, it was me against myself. It didn't matter what other people were doing. I mean, obviously it didn't matter, but I think that, part of one way that we can increase the likelihood of getting better every day is having an internal drive to compete against ourselves. So,
yeah, I love that. Great answer. How can people find out more about you, more about your story and how you help people? How can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way for if there's any viewers in, where you are that have interest in connecting with me. Probably LinkedIn is the best way, or I can email you my information. And I don't know if this podcast is live, or if it'll post at a later date, but I can give you my information and you can post that. Yep. I would love to. I don't know if there'll ever be an opportunity. Obviously, right now with COVID-19, things are on hold as far as the speaking business is concerned. But whether if there's anyone in England that wants to do a virtual event, or I'd be honored to come there and speak sometime too. I don't know if that would ever happen, but if there's any company or organization that would like to have us, I'd love to come. Love to come, inspire, encourage, and motivate everyone to keep moving forward.
Love that. We'll make that happen. Austin, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and sharing your heart and your story. And I'd just love for you to leave us with a final thought from your good self.
Yeah. My biggest thing is like the title of our business, Overcome It. The name of our business, Overcome It. Whatever you're facing, I don't know what it is for you. Anyone in the audience, I don't know what it is, but I encourage you just to make the decision to overcome it. Make the decision to prioritize our response to the adversity we face rather than dwelling on the adversity itself. And some of us won't face things that we won't be able to overcome. But I just encourage you to make that decision to overcome it, just work at it, keep at it, try to stay positive too, because in the midst of that trial, I think our decision to stay positive is a competitive advantage. And yeah, I think just, keep working. Whatever you face, probably won't overcome it today or tomorrow, but if we work hard enough for long enough, we'll overcome it. It's not if, it's when. So I believe in all you guys. I know you'll overcome. Keep working at it and keep thriving in the midst of that adversity, and keep controlling the controllables that we control, our attitude, our work ethic, things like that. So I wish you guys all the very best. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, and I'll look forward to staying in touch.
You're an inspiration. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Take care of yourself.